Jack Sweeney.
I, Ernest George Arkwright.
I, Robert James McKinley, swear by Almighty God that I will be faithful and bear allegiance to His Majesty King George V.
I will, as in duty bound, faithfully defend His Majesty, his heirs and successors, in person, crown and dignity, against all enemies, so help me God.
So help me God.
So help me God.
We marched to and from Lord's Cricket Ground in Hampstead Heath, singing our marching songs and thoroughly enjoying the whole business. Our favourite is Mary Had a Little Lamb. It's remarkable for having 11 verses, only one of which is respectable, and that one we usually leave out.
I'm fairly bitten with a military fever, and I'm learning all I can. I spent yesterday morning shooting on the big range. I'd never shot before, so I didn't do it very brilliantly. There's a lot of kick, and the noise is considerable.
It is a heady atmosphere to move in, and it's infected me with a strong desire to do something more than stay in London and wait for a bunch of men to tell me what to do. I have heard of an ambulance corps which is going straight out to Belgium, and shall apply to join it.
Pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile. While you bellow separate to light your fag, smile, boys, that's the style. What's the use of worrying? It never was worthwhile. Oh, pack up your troubles in your old kit bag and smile, smile, smile.
As I walk through the streets in my uniform, people look admiringly at me, and I feel more than ever pleased with myself.
Girls smile at me. Men look at me with respect. Bus drivers wish me luck and refuse to take money for my fare. And everybody makes way for me as being on the King's business.
I'm afraid I will not be able to see you all before we go, and possibly it is better so for us. Goodbyes are very harrowing, so do not try and come and see me. You understand what I mean. You must all keep cheerful for my sake. It will not be very long before I'm back again. At least the general opinion is that it will not be a long show.
Goodbye, goodbye, where's the dear baby dear from your eye? Though it's hard to part, I know, I'll be sick of the death to go. Don't cry, don't cry, there's a silver lining in the sky. Once more, old chin, cheerio, chin, chin, now boo, toodaloo, goodbye.
Whilst waiting on the quayside to embark, a huge hospital ship came in filled with wounded. From the upper deck, a voice shouted, "Are you downhearted?" To which we replied to a man, "No!" Back came the voice, "Then you bloody soon will be."
As I look back on the receding coast, the sun is sinking slowly behind it. The moving boat leaves a visible track on the calm water which seems to stretch right back to the shore, as though to remind us that we can never be entirely cut off from the dear land of our birth. Goodbye, good old England. Goodbye.
It was all hand-waving and excitement. We arrived singing Gilbert the Filbert and other popular tunes with great gusto. We had a rattling good dinner and slept soundly without any rude interruptions from the war.
Arrived in Le Havre. Curious to look down on the quay and see the French faces. Everyone pleased to see us. The men have already discovered a new language in which to speak and be understood. It consists chiefly, so far as I can see, of saying beer and cigarettes. In response, the constant offer, for 5 francs you can meet my sister.
Mademoiselle from Armentières, allez-vous. Mademoiselle from Armentières, allez-vous.
Who was the girl who lost her sheep through singing this chorus in her sleep?
Mademoiselle from Armentières, Mademoiselle from Armentières, allez-vous. Mademoiselle from
Who was it pinched the barber's pole and used for fuel to save the coal?
We march up to Brigade HQ. We're carrying 120 rounds in our pouches, iron rations, full pack and rifle. It's most depressing. Plod, 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 legs and boots going on, and the pack just gets heavier and heavier. When a halt comes, after having a leak, we just fall down. There's one thing, though, that puts all this in the background. We can hear the guns from here. They're very muffled, but quite distinct.
On we speed to the training camp. The place positively teems with military life. A perfect maze of tents encircles us on all sides as we march through, saluting sentries as we pass to our own particular depot. Crowds of Indian lancers about.
We've been put through our paces. The instructors gave us a lively time of it with the bayonet fighting. Gnash your teeth, show the whites of your eyes, and look as though you mean it. We spent a charming day killing straw Germans suspended by chains with real Kaiser Bill moustaches. We killed them sitting, lying in trenches, coming out of dugouts, on parade, in every manner in which they could be killed. And then we killed them again just to make sure they weren't hamming.
It's a long way to Tipperary. It's a long way to go. It's a long way to Tipperary, to the sweetest girl I know.
I must say, the boys are always cheerful. It's surprising what a spirit an English soldier has. No matter if it's pouring with rain and they're wet to the skin, they keep singing. It's a good job we've got men like that, or I don't know where we should be.
I certify on my honour that the contents of this envelope refer to nothing but personal and family matters. I received your parcel on the same afternoon as I left Rouen to come to this place. The name of this place I'm not allowed to tell you. It could not have come at a better time, as we were all in the train from 12 o'clock Friday night until 9:15 Sunday morning, and all we had in the way of food was 6 hard biscuits and a pound tin of bully beef. So you can see how nice that box of chocolates was to me and my chums.
My dear Martha, I received your postcard of the 20th of April away up here today. It went to Versailles, got forwarded to Boulogne, and then up here. I hear you say, where is here? Well, we see the flashes of the guns and hear the roar, day and night.
My dear Ivy, it's nearly 8 o'clock. The lights will soon have to be blown out and I shall have to go to bed. I have a nice bedroom. It's an old barn with half the roof still clinging to it and plenty of straw. On the door, someone's chalked the rat's nest, and it's well named. Rats as big as cats. It's amusing to watch their antics. Lice too, our bosom friends we call them. We're now settled down here for about 2 weeks to learn the Maxim gun. Then we have to go up to our regiments, which are now in one of the worst parts of the firing line. I better not tell you any more about our work, as the censor might not like reading it. Au revoir, my darling. Keep smiling. Jack. I expect you'll hardly believe me when I tell you that the civilians are still in this town. We can go out and buy anything we want. That is, if we had any money, which we get very little of. All the pubs are open, and the tea shops as well. It's just like London. No doubt this is hard to believe, as the trenches are only 1.5 miles away.
By the time we arrived at the outskirts of the town, the traffic and ammunition and ambulance wagons had ceased, and we were alone on the road. The only noise we heard was the echo of our own steps and the occasional roar of a gun or a bursting shell. Just over the canal bridge, a timber wagon and 2 shattered horses came into view, and we walked through the blood of these noble animals. On our way, we passed more dead horses, which in many cases were in a state of decomposition and emitted a fearful odor of rottenness.
My dear mother, I'm writing this in the trenches. I'm surprised to find how quiet it is here. Except for the sniping, there's nothing doing. We're in good trenches and hold a good position. It was a fine sight coming up last night to see all along the line as far as you could, star shells going up. They were like a firework display.
At night, you can be on sentry, head and shoulders above the trenches, gazing into no man's land, which is lines of tangled barbed wire in front of ours and also in front of the Germans. Only yards at times separate us. In fact, so close, you can hear a chap coughing.
Well, Dad, I've been in the trenches from last Friday until Tuesday and would have enjoyed it very much more only for the rain, which made us all look like mudlarks. We've had a few narrow escapes, Dad. Last Sunday, the Germans sent us a few presents from the Kaiser. They were shrapnel shells, or as we call them, Jack Johnsons. Whiz, bang, bang everywhere. They come very close to our trenches, but they never hurt nobody, and the boys was laughing every time one bursted. With love to you all, I'll remain your loving son, Jack. P.S. We get a nice drop of rum every day. Me luck's in. I've been made officer's cook. It's very hard work, cooking on an old pail with coke, and the officers here expect 5-course dinners just the same. I'll tell them we must remember we're at war. Well, I do my best, and it's better than doing sentry duty.
This is a red letter day. My parcel came this morning with a tin of peaches, loaf and butter, fish paste, tobacco, sleeping helmet, chocolate, and a pair of socks and a towel. Had peaches for sweet at dinner and fish paste for tea. Grand.
I've got a nice dugout where I cook, and after the officers have had their dinner, I let the boys come in and have a warm, make them a drop of hot tea. The officers waste a lot of food, and the boys are glad to eat all they leave. The boys are so happy when they can have a warm, it makes me feel happy to be able to give them a bit of comfort. You can see the steam rising off their clothing. It's the only way they can get their clothes dry.
A concert party has been put on. We all knew the songs and bawled them out with gusto, knew the comedian's jokes better than he did, and helped out with the dialogue at the slightest provocation. We loved the manner in which the female impersonators primped around the stage singing soprano, showed off their figures and wiggled their hips that poked out from a slit skirt. How daring.
We've had snow here in tons. The boys had a fine game. The fighting was terrible. But we didn't have one casualty. That's because they was using snowballs.
Keep the home fires burning.
Dearest Dorothy, just a line from the trenches on Christmas Eve. A topping night with not much firing going on and both sides singing. It will be interesting to see what happens tomorrow. My orders to the company are not to start firing unless the Germans do. Best love, your dearest Arthur.
The dark cloud shining.
Friday the 25th, Christmas Day. Freezing and a bit misty. We started walking about behind the trench, and after a bit we got out the front, and then we saw the Germans doing the same thing.
Five of us went out to meet five of them and started exchanging keepsakes, buttons, etc. I got some fags, a cap badge, a button, and some cigars.
It seemed the weirdest thing in the world that you could be talking to the men that you were trying to shoot the day before. And to crown it all, a German officer got a camera and took her photos in a group. And tonight, not a shot was fired.
Imagine a bright January morning and a platoon, about 55 men, busily engaged in washing, cleaning up, cooking, and some sleeping. Suddenly, a tremendous explosion. A deathly stillness, as if all were paralyzed. Then fearful screams and groans and death gasps. A high explosive German shell had fallen right into a wide part of the trench where the men had been. The sight of the wounded shedding their blood from gaping wounds and their agonized cries, one asking to be shot, was terrible.
I helped in the operating room. Amputated limbs were simply swept or thrown outside, and there was a frightful smell of rotting gangrenous flesh. How that doctor and that sister kept going, I will never know. For the first day or two, my freshly starched Queen Charlotte's Hospital mind was deeply shocked by what I saw.
I went to communion this morning and knelt in the long grass beneath a blue sky. The padre preached on the text, "Love your enemies, do well to them that do spitefully use you."
Afterwards, the Colonel gave us a little heart-to-heart talk on the desirability of remembering that we had bayonets in our rifles and using them accordingly. No encouragement to take prisoners, unless they can be of value for information. Dead men tell no tales and eat no rations.
Dear Ivy, sorry I can't answer your letters, but I'm too busy. I can't tell you what the business is, but I expect you can guess. I'm on the Somme front, and I've had a terrible time these last few days. We're up for a big attack tomorrow. It's a big thing this time, and I think it's going to cost us dear. Well, it's all in the game.
I am writing to you just before going into action tomorrow morning, about dawn. I am about to take part in the biggest battle that has yet been fought in France, and one which ought to end the war very quickly. I never felt more confident or cheerful in my life before, and would not miss the attack for anything on earth.
I must not allow myself to dwell on the personal. There is no room for it here. Also, it is demoralizing. But I do not want to die. Not that I mind for myself. If it be that I am to go, then I am ready. But I simply cannot bear the thought that I may never again see you or our darling baby.
It may well be that you will only have to read these lines as ones of passing interest. On the other hand, they may well be my last message to you. If they are, know through all your life that I loved you and baby with all my heart and soul, that you two sweet things were just all the world to me.